there really is a very strange conspiracy theory going around the internet right now that the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift relationship is fake. It's been propped up, not by like her PR agent and his PR agent to get them extra coverage. Celebrities do that. I mean, that actually is not so far afield that I couldn't buy it, though I doubt it here. But that she's a Pentagon operative. Apparently, Jesse Waters played some soundbite claiming this was the Pentagon, but it wasn't the Pentagon. It was some Johns Hopkins researcher talking about social media influencers and how they can be useful in getting messages out. And she said, like Taylor Swift, she would be one of the greatest of all. In any event, the theory is that the Pentagon is using Taylor and Travis Kelce because he's pro-vaccine and she's pro-Biden and propping them up with magazine covers and Times Person of the Year in her case. And now the theory goes a Super Bowl win, which will be rigged for the Kansas City Chiefs to just build the profile even more. And then after they win, the Travis Taylor kiss will happen post Super Bowl. And they will look at the camera and say, vote Joe Biden. I mean, literally people believe this. People on the right who I like and respect are pushing this. Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted out the following: I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month, saying, and I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially, culturally propped up couple this fall. Others have been even more explicit, saying this is all one big psyop against us. What do you make of this?
Well, look, I'm all in for a good conspiratorial story. And a lot of times, the conspiracies, as we've learned over the last 4 years, especially, a lot of them have ended up being true. This one, I just think we're missing the point. I like it. It's juicy and it's fun. And there's some ring of truth, I think, to it. But the reality is, I think that if that's what we see and that's all that we see, we're missing the whole point. The point is that we've created a generation of kids who, the Gen Zers, that unfortunately we've dumbed them down. They're not learning history the way that we did. The classical method of education has been tossed out the door. We've brought in gender bending studies instead to replace it. And then we've created this generation of kids that's raised on a sugar diet of pop culture and social media and being in the in crowd with retweets. And I think that that's actually the point, is that we've created a generation that's ripe for this phenomenon of really having this collective mockingbird effect, that you have someone like Taylor Swift, who's sparkly and popular and brings the crowds in mass. And then you have her subjects who haven't been trained to think beyond the headline of the day and the tweet of the day. And so it's just ripe for someone like Taylor Swift to step in and tell her minions who to vote for, and the crowd goes wild. I do think it's interesting that you've got Travis Kelce, on the other hand, where we've lost so many, or the Democrat Party has lost so many of the young men who fled to the conservative circles because they don't want to be emasculated. And so now you have this interesting relationship between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, where you've got Travis Kelce, who could become Mr. Super Bowl, drawing in the young boys, while Taylor Swift is bringing in the young girls. That's interesting to me. And that may be where there's some ring of truth to how much of this is manufactured. But overall, I think the reality is that we've got to do better for our youth and prop up actual heroes instead of sparkly superstars who are adored en masse, and then the mockingbird effect.
I mean, I don't know why people are so afraid of her. She does have power. She does have influence. She told people to go vote, and something like 35,000 of them did. But registering to vote is not the same as actually voting. And I've been through enough of these elections where we've had George Clooney out there. I mean, like, George Clooney could win the presidency if he ran. They don't listen. They don't tend to actually do it. Like, people are acting like Taylor Swift actually holds the key to the presidency. Like, whoever, she's going to vote Biden. Hello. She's going to endorse Biden. Probably Travis Kelce will too. He's big on Bud Light. He's big on COVID vaccines and Pfizer. Why are people living in fear of this? Yes, they're being propped up by a media that loves the number of hits she gets. I mean, I see Taylor Swift. My kids just said this, Britt. they were like, oh, thank God, one day in which she's not on the cover of the New York Post. That's not a left-wing publication. The reason she's on the cover of the New York Post so often is because people are interested in her and they want people to buy the paper.
The fatigue might be setting in, though. I talked to some of the young girls, and I've been asking them, like, hey, what do you think about this whole Taylor Swift thing? And I think that it's getting overplayed. So if this is the Hail Mary by the Biden camp, I think that they need to be cautious, because that fatigue is going to set in, where you're going to have the opposite effect, where people are so sick and tired of seeing them plastered on every cover, and you can't even watch a football game without seeing Taylor Swift dancing up there. It's a little much, and that might actually end up having the reverse effect, that if there is like some deep, crazy conspiracy behind it, then the opposite may actually end up.
Yeah. It is a lot much. I'm sick of it.
It's a lot much.
And it's not her fault. It's the TV cameras that will capture her, and the director of the show who says, pop her back on, pop her back on. But they're doing that for the same reason the Post is putting her on, and all the newspapers and the magazines are putting her on. She rates. She's interesting to some vast majority of people. I don't happen to be one of them. I don't feel it. I have nothing against her, though I'm pissed off about the Palestinian money she raised. But whatever. Like they're making her. This is what we do in America. We choose somebody, we build them up.
That's right.
Then we crush them. So I'm sure that's coming for her eventually too. If she's smart, she will stay non-political, which is better for her. She will not be the most popular person in America if she continues to antagonize half the country that votes Republican. But whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
so let's move
honestly,
on
it will be interesting to see. I think it'll be interesting. I was thinking this morning about it, to see if she actually does endorse Biden, because at this point, who wants to put their reputation on Biden? I mean, do you think
she's big on abortion rights
so far? She is, but it's one thing to say you're pro that, and pro trans and pro all the things, but it's another to say you're coming out and endorsing Joe Biden. Do you think she's going to do it?
Yes, I do, because she hates Trump. Here she was back in 2020 commenting about Trump and Marsha Blackburn, who, by the way, she was very much against Marsha Blackburn, who was reelected. So, I mean, there are limits to this woman's power. She's very good behind the microphone. She's good at getting people to show up at the concerts. Whether she can sway entire elections with her magical endorsement is another very open question. But here's a little flashback for you on SOT 30.
And the other thing, just from a security standpoint, Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history. And if he doesn't win, then at least I try. I can't see another commercial and see her disguising these policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for. I need to do this. I need you to I need you to forgive me for doing it, because I'm doing it.
There we go. She's really not a pro-Trumper. She's not pro-Republican.
She is not. She is not. I think she also is, unfortunately, I think there's a little bit of an identity crisis just hearing that, she's a Christian, she's a Tennessean, but then she's pro-abortion, anti-Trump,
pro-trans,
trans. So there's a lot there to make of what actually is she. I don't know if she knows who she really is, to be totally honest. I think she's very confused, and it's confusing just hearing her. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's, she grew up in a more Christian, conservative family from the sound of it, but then got the adoration of the music industry, the, television and movie industry, Hollywood writ large, not to mention Democrats, all of whom are begging for her to shine any light on them. And they love bombed her. And so suddenly she's like, oh, maybe, if I'm with them, I'm on the cover of all the magazines. Everything I touch will turn to gold because they control all these industries. Yeah, okay, I like it. Let me hear them out. And so, you can kind of see the spiral. Conservatives don't really do that to people.
No, it's a lot of pressure for her to be fair as a person. And she's got plenty of handlers that handle a lot of that pressure. But if she was wise, I think it would be a smart move for her to not go all in on Joe Biden and stake her reputation in aligning herself with him, no matter how much she hates Trump. Well, is she going to go Biden? Most likely. Is the Hail Mary going to work? I don't know. I think people are hitting a pretty strong point of contempt for Joe Biden. So I don't know, like you said, I don't know if her power goes that far.
And you also, you just never know, like, maybe somebody will get to her. Maybe Chloe Cole will get to her and say,
yeah, true.
They cut off my breast when I was 15. I think I'm sterile now because of these treatments. Please stop pushing this LGBTQ stuff because you're hurting real people like me. On Main Street, local credit unions and community banks are the heart of our small towns. When these institutions are united in opposition to the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill, Congress might want to take note. Our sponsor, the Electronic Payments Coalition, says the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill favors corporate megastores like Walmart and Target, shifting costs and risks unfairly onto credit unions, community banks, and the 140 million customers they serve. Find out more at electronicpaymentscoalition.org and see for yourself if you want to tell Congress to protect America's credit unions and community banks and oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. Visit electronicpaymentscoalition.org to take action. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.